Hey everybody, this is Steli Efti with Close. Today I want to talk to you about the Great Resignation. What is it and what does it mean for you and your startup and your career? So a lot of people have been sending us messages asking us for advice on how to deal with a question of the Great Resignation when it comes to talent acquisition and talent retention. If you don't know what it means, I'll give you the quick breakdown. Last year, when we had the big pandemic breakout, people basically huddled down and stayed where they were because in times of great uncertainty, people don't want to make changes in their lives. So people stopped applying for the jobs, and movement within the economy was just lower volume when it came to switching jobs and making career moves for most people. Now, we're still in the middle of the pandemic, but things have stabilized. People are not as shell shocked as they were in the beginning. And a trend that was already changing the world of business has accelerated in an incredible fashion, which is remote work, which empowered people to move anywhere they want and work for any company that offers them remote work. So forever, the cycle of life has been speeding up faster and faster and faster. And forever in business, that meant that the cycles of people's career became shorter and shorter and shorter. So instead of joining one business and work there your entire life until you retire, people started having 2 or 3 jobs, so switching between 3 or 4 companies. And now we're at a point where this wheel has started to spin, at a much faster, dizzying pace, where people switch careers every 18 to 24 months if you're in tech. So the Great Resignation is this new trend that where people, great talent within great companies, is switching careers, is moving. And so a lot of businesses are struggling because their best people are leaving for better and better careers. Now, the way that I experience all of this is very simple. When the pandemic hit, people stopped applying for jobs. We saw that at Close. Less and less and less people apply proactively for our open job posts, a really drastic trend. We were as shell-shocked as any other company that needed talent. So what did we do? Well, what you do isn't working. You have to change what you do. So instead of being mainly inbound focused when it comes to our talent acquisition, we had to switch and become mainly outbound focused. So we started investing tremendous amounts of effort and energy in outbound recruiting. We were not alone. Every tech company did the same thing. All of a sudden, our employees started telling us, Jesus Christ, I used to get 1 or 2 LinkedIn recruiter messages a month. Now I get 5 a day. Companies became so aggressive in reaching out and offering jobs that the world became much more noisy. Now, what do you do when you're desperate and you can't get any attention? Bingo, you get more desperate. So companies started throwing money and titles at people like there's no tomorrow. And people started moving, right? All of a sudden, they get job offers for double the salary and for like 3 steps up in their career. And they would just take the job. Now, from a personal perspective, doesn't that sound fun? Like more companies reaching out to you, giving you a lot more money, a lot better title, the world fighting for your talent. That sounds sweet, right? It is, and it can be, but it's also bittersweet. Because here's something that a lot of people that apply at Close have observed, and we keep hearing this almost in every conversation. Here's something I hear again and again and again. It doesn't matter in what position people apply for jobs and get to the stage of talking to me. Doesn't matter in what field, if they're engineers, if they're product people, marketing, sales. They tell me one thing very, very early on in the conversation. Steli, one of the things that made you Close stand out from all the other companies that I apply is that everybody I talk to at Close has been with Close for a very long time and seems to be incredibly happy and bought into the culture. People at Close, the 4 people I talk to, have worked at Close for 5 years, 7 years, 4 years. I've talked to somebody that worked for 10 years at Close and still happy. Shout out to Phil, who just had his 10-year anniversary at Close. We're so psyched. On to the next 10, right? People are surprised when they talk to our employees, when they go through our hiring process, that people at Close seem to be in it for the long term and seem to be truly happy. And they tell us and report to me frequently that when they apply for other jobs, they talk to 2 or 3 people that each had been at the company for less than 18 months. Now, that might sound exciting at the surface, but it's not. There's a lot of trouble ahead for all of us. And we try our best to be ahead of that trouble and to think very long term when the world becomes shorter and shorter term focused. Why is there a lot of trouble with the Great Resignation? Well, from a startup perspective, a company perspective, if you keep losing your greatest talent to better and better offers, you're never going to be able to have a killer team that goes through it till the end, that's actually really capable of building something sustainable and foundational. Because everybody that joins you, it takes a couple of months to really get to know how things are working. If they leave just at the time that they got their footing and really could have impact, you're just throwing money out the window and not accomplishing anything. On top of it, everybody that is very talented will get discouraged and eventually frustrated because the people they work with just disappear and they keep having to teach people the ropes, the ABCs of the business. And so they will start looking somewhere else and say, well, if all of this is a wild rodeo, right, why don't I just go and get as much money as I can if it doesn't really matter of doing great sustainable work, since everybody here is shifting, everything here is shifting. Like my boss had vision A, but then left for another company. Now I have a new boss. That boss is a vision B, a completely different direction. By the time we were able to try to accomplish that, half the team has left. So now that boss has to change the strategy again. And there's just so much noise and movement. You can't build a winning team. You can't build a great life within a tribe that's in so much turmoil. And you can focus and do great work if you constantly are pondering leaving. If you're constantly pondering, is there a better job opportunity? Should I be making more money? When everybody that works at a company is not focused on doing great work and building the greatest culture and company and product possible, but everybody's in their own head, kind of flirting and wondering, who else is about to leave? Who has just left? Should I also be leaving? Nothing great will ever be accomplished in a team like that. It really is the difference between, being part of a wild scene of crazy dating versus being part of a crowd that is looking for a long-term relationship. Not saying that there's not time and space for anything and everything in life, but for long-term success in a career and a business, you can't be working with people where your turnover is going to be that your team is going to be changing every 6 to 9 months. You're never going to be able to accomplish anything great in a team like that. And you're never going to be able to accomplish anything great if you switch jobs every 6 to 9 months. I hated to break it to you, no matter how high your salary goes, you're not going to find fulfillment or happiness or truly hit your stride and excellence in your skill set. So we collected a number of questions that people have sent to us, founders that have been struggling with a Great Resignation, and I'll try to attempt to answer them as best as I can. And before that, let me say this, and let me give out a quick warning. I saw a tweet just this morning from a great friend, actually, Eric Su, an awesome person, and his sentiment is echoed in a lot of top tech executives on Twitter, and I want to challenge it a little bit. Although he's an amazing guy, he tweeted about the Great Resignation that it's been both a blessing and a curse. A curse because they've lost some of the greatest talent at the company, but a blessing because they've been able to hire some incredible talent that they would have never been able to recruit aggressively out of another company. That might turn out to be a blessing, to be able to hire aggressively great talent away from another business, but it might be a curse in the making, right? If I'm able to recruit you away from your business because I offer you more excitement, a higher salary, more stocks, a bigger title, if that's the reason why you come to me, that's going to be the reason why you go and leave me to the next company, right? And do I really want to hire people just because I pay them a bit more money, just because I offer them something exciting and blend them away from their current mission? And am I excited when I can distract somebody that easily? Somebody just joined 9 months ago somewhere, is building a team, and I can just send an email with a high salary and get them to switch? Is that really the kind of people I want to build a business with? For us at Close, the answer is clearly no. So let's go through your questions, okay? First, do you think there's really a lack of talent for tech companies, or is it a lack of flexibility on the part of companies, or something else? I think it's something else. I think, as I described, that what is happening is that a ton of businesses had to go remote. A ton of people tasted some of the sweetness, some people have tasted the sourness as well, but some of the sweetness of remote work, which is the freedom to move and live anywhere, maybe not have to live in a city, more flexibility during your work hours, and also the potential to think, well, what if I could work at any company around the world, not just at the companies that are local to me? Now, a number of businesses have realized this is the future, so they stuck with transitioning fully to remote or have remote at least as an option. But many businesses are trying to pull everybody back into the office. I hear the stories every single day. And companies that try to pull people back into the office, they lose a ton of their talent. And the talent that hasn't gone yet is thinking and looking and acting towards leaving. You might just not know it. So that might be one thing. But in general, I think that the opportunities for people have opened up to be truly global and not just local. And companies have switched to much more aggressive recruiting tactics because their inbound funnel has just not been as successful, which has pushed a very competitive market to go a little nuts, just like in any other area in life right now. Everything is nuts. Hence is also the job market and the hiring and recruiting environment. I think that's really more of the issue than lack of talent. There's great talent. That's not the problem. Next question. How can startups set themselves apart as great places to work? Well, you know, the best, what is the Chinese proverb? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So the best time to have prepared for the Great Resignation was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We benefit greatly from a lot of things that we've done 10 years ago, 5 years ago, not the things we do today. But if you haven't, now's the time to start, right? This is not going to get better. This is going to get worse. Now, we might have pendulum swings. We might, every trend, the future really comes in waves. But in 5 years, in 10 years, does anybody really believe that people will be sticking with companies and their careers longer or in shorter cycles? Right? Everybody, I think, can be in easy agreement that the cycles of time will continue to get shorter and shorter. And I think that the biggest challenge for people will be to have calmness in life, to have stillness, to have an anchor. I think anxiety and stress and depression will be the biggest job challenges and employee challenges of our future, not opportunities, not salaries, not technology. So if you're a business that offers an amazing culture, that offers some calmness, that offers people some longevity, they don't have to stay with you for 10 years if they do amazing, or 20 or 30, but they need to think that and feel that they could, maybe they would, and that you offer a job and a work environment that really enhances their quality of life, that gives them meaningful work to do, challenging work to do, but in a stable, calm, sane environment with great people that are focused on the work, not constantly focused left, right, totally distracted, applying to jobs, responding to recruiter messages while they were supposed to be working. Nobody will ever be able to work with others in this anxiety-ridden, attention deficit disorder sort of culture and feel fulfillment. So what you need to do is you need to create a culture that has longevity. You need to try to build a business where, at least in theory, the jobs you offer, the work you offer, people could be doing for 10 years. You need to think more long-term than your competitors. You need to treat people with a lot of respect. One thing that we do is that time for us is a much more important component than for a lot of other companies. So when I say time, it's not about how to shorten time, how to shorten cycles, how to move faster. No. For us, it's all about how can we increase the quality of time that people have at work? And how can we decrease the waste of time that's associated with work? So we have very little meetings. Our meetings are very well structured. The meetings have purpose to them and could not be asynchronous or written down, a chat or an email chain. We make sure that we give people the power of their time and that we don't misuse and abuse their time, as many other companies do, that drown people in meetings that are meaningless and break their spirits and their morale. So we give people a lot of time. We are very careful with how much time and how we use the time of our employees and people. So we give them the freedom to live a calm life, to work in a calm environment, to feel like what they do is meaningful and isn't wasteful, one of the biggest things people are frustrated by, we've all been frustrated by that, is being in a company and feeling like your time in life is wasted, that you're sitting in meaningless meetings, one after another, that don't accomplish anything and could have been an email, right? So we are very careful with our people's time and very respectful of it. We take great care and invest heavily in people's lives. We proactively reach out to people and advise them to take more breaks or more vacation. We proactively give people the option to do a 4-day work week versus a 5-day work week. We have again and again and again stepped in and done something supportive to people because we understood and knew about their life that other businesses wouldn't have done, and that really made all the difference in the world. I'll give you an example. People's family members have been dying. In the last few years, more than ever before, people had brothers, sisters, fathers die. Some because of COVID, some because of mental issues, some because of, drug abuse. And because we have a culture and foster a culture where, for instance, in a lot of smaller meetings, so if the marketing team meets, if the directors of the company meet, oftentimes what we do, we kickstart the meeting with a 5-minute roundup of personal lives. What is going on in everybody's personal life? Well, my baby is just sick. I haven't been sleeping for 3 days. The next director goes, well, I've been having a great time. We just closed on a house. We give each other a quick update on each other's lives. That way we have context for the whole human before we jump into the business meeting. That way we also know, wow, this person is doing really well, or wow, this person needs more support. My God, this person going through incredibly challenging times. That's context. Maybe I can help. Maybe I can demand less of them. Maybe our team can help their team. So we've been able to be there for people in their personal lives as well as in their work careers in ways that they tell us no other business has ever been. I just received a message last week from somebody that got a care package for us and his whole family because they got sick, that said, I've never worked at a company that cared more about its people than Close. Now, you could copy and paste these tactics, but it's not about the tactics, not about the individual things you do. It's about the culture, if you truly care or not. Like if you think your people are the most important asset you have, and you have to take great care of them, and retaining your talent is 10 times more important than hiring new exciting talent. If you have that belief, those principles, those values, you're going to find your own path and own way to create a company that will be able to retain talent, although your talent is offered insane opportunities. We have everyday people tell us, my God, I just got an offer for double the money that I make here at Close. And we go, so are you leaving? And they go, no, I love this company. Yeah, more money would be nice, but I don't want to, that's not all. I make so much money here, but I'm so fulfilled. I love this company. So you will have to start caring more and more about your most important asset. Your most important asset is not your technology, is not your product, is not the millions in the bank from some VCs, is not your publicity, is not your audience or your email list. Your most important asset are your people. People have always been asking me, what are you worried about as a CEO at Close? What gives you sleepless nights? And for the past 5 years, as far as I can remember, I've always said the same answer because there's only one thing I truly worry about, and that's my people. All problems are people problems. Think about it. Doesn't matter if it's technology, a competitor, the global health crisis, the financial crisis. Who's going to solve these problems within your business or not solve them? People. I worry only about one thing. Do we have the right people in place to do the right work? And do we empower these people to do the best work of their lives? Those are the only questions I constantly worry about. And the answer is always no. The answer is always we could be doing better. We must do better, a little better. What can we do to do a little better? If you start thinking that way, you're going to start taking care of your best asset, your people, in ways that your competitors don't. And the right people, the people that have gone maybe through a bit of their career, that have switched jobs and then seen how empty it is to just switch because of a great title and a great salary raise. The people that have similar values, that want to stick somewhere and build a career and build something great and not just chase the money and chase the excitement. Those kind of people will be attracted to you like a magnet, and you're going to be able to compete against other companies so much more effectively. I'm telling you, employee retention will be the biggest challenge of the next 20 years in business. So you better get really good at retention and happiness of people. Okay, a couple more questions before we wrap this video up here. Do you think offering remote work is the best solution or is there more involved? I just answered that. I think, in the future, you're not going to have the option to say, is it remote or not? It's always going to have some remote component, and you need to be good at remote. That's just what's going to happen if you like it or not. It's like saying at your business, will I have access to electricity? Yes, right? Will I have access to the internet? Will I be able to work remotely? The answer to that will be yes to almost every job on this planet, to some component at least. So you got to go with the times. Either you do it now or you'll do it in 5 or 10 years, or you've done it 10 years ago like we did, but that's inevitable. But it's not the only thing, and I just highlighted a couple of other things. What are some strategies for growing startups to attract new talent? Well, I'll tell you what not to do. Don't compete on other people's terms. So when we recruit, we don't recruit by outbidding everybody with just throwing more money, more titles at people, more excitement. We compete by being different, by standing out. And the way we are different is that we recruit only people that have been with a company for a very long time, and only if you really want to switch for the right reasons. And we compete with core company value, with culture, with longevity, with sanity, with calmness. With this is going to be a company, if you join us, we want to work with you for the long term. And the way I think about careers and people has always been, if I don't want to work with you for the next 30 years of my life, I don't want to work with you for a single day. And that's been our culture and our policy at this business. Now, you might work here for 3 years and then leave, but our relationship will be forever. I still talk to people that I've hired 30 years ago at different businesses and help them out. They've been investors in my companies. I've been investors in theirs. We've been helping. We've been friends. We want relationships that will last a lifetime. So those are the people that we're looking for. And when we see people that are switching every 6 months, we don't hire them. When we look at people that the reason why they want to switch is excitement, is to step up, is to move faster, is because they're looking for something greater and better, we're very cautious of that. What are some ways startups can retain top talent? It's all the same. It's always the basics. I know that what I'm giving you is like, it's not like quick 3 tips you can do now. Update your website with using some lingo, tweeting a cool cat pixelated picture. Boom, now you're going to have this problem solved for you. There's no quick solution. But I'm telling you, don't think about how to solve this problem now. This problem is only going to accelerate and grow over the next 5 to 10 years. If you work on this with a bit of patience and with longevity in mind, you're going to be in such a competitive position. I believe that we're going to be crushing our competitors in 5 years from now, because our employees will, on average, stay with our business for 4 or 5 years, versus our competitors will have turnover every 9 to 10 months. How can they compete against us? They won't be able to. And our life and life quality will be much higher. I guarantee it to you. All right. So that's enough to kickstart the conversation. If you have questions, feedback, rebuttals, if you got pissed or angry, or if you have something that I haven't considered that you want to share with me, please reach out at steli@close.com. We have a resource for everybody that's hiring salespeople, obviously, the Sales Hiring Playbook. Check that out. There's a free download for you inside. And as always, go get them.